Good morning, teacher. I'm Tang Thị Thu Trang from Book 2. Our group includes me, Ms. Hoài Hương, and Minh Nguyệt. On behalf of my team, I would like to present to you our credit appraisal report on Hạ Long Canner Food Company. In this case study, from the viewpoint of relationship manager in commercial bank, we will consider a loan application from Hạ Long Canner Food Company of 10% of total asset in 1 year, so that the firm can increase the level by 20%. Our presentation today will include 4 parts. The first one is FIC analysis, the second one is financial ratio analysis, the third one is decision-making part, and the final one is conclusion and recommendation. Moving on, the first part, FIC credit evaluation. We will first looking on the firm character. Hạ Long Canner Food Stock Company was established in 1957 by the government and listed on Hainan Stock Exchange on October 2001. It manufactures and traded canned fruit, meat, poultry, as well as processed fruit and vegetable. In general, the firm manager are all recently appointed. However, they all working with the firm for a long time. That's why they have all the expertise and inside the company. The loan's purpose is to increase the sale by 20%, which not only legal purpose but also represent a greater capacity of the firm to repay the loan amount when they get higher income. This company is not only having a famous brand domestically as a pioneer in food industry, but also a well-known company whose name and financial data have been referred to by several international newspapers such as Reuters and WGW. The company current ratio for the last 2 years is under normal benchmark, which is 1 to 2, which indicate a risk of not being able to meet short-term liability due to cash deficit. Moreover, company quick ratio is also under the benchmark of the general industry, which is 1 time. The liquidity ratio illustrates the liquidity risk that the company is currently facing. Determinant of approving the loan and term structure are business cycle, an industry-specific risk, which in this case is the food industry. The food industry is forecast to continue to maintain strong growth until 2020, with an average growth of 10.9% per year. Looking at the market share and potential short revenue of the firm, Hạ Long Canner Food is losing its market share due to intense competition with other brands such as Masan or Pizza. It is a real question of whether Hạ Long Canner Food can take advantage of the growing food industry and retain its growth potential. 3. Collateral. The company has 2 wholly owned subsidiaries named Hạ Long Canner Food Company Limited and Hạ Long Canner Food Đà Nẵng Company Limited, of which the latter is specialized in exporting tuna to European countries. In 2017, its exported product worth more than $3 million USD and in top exporting company of this product line. Refer to the decision on collateral of SBV. Hạ Long Canner Food still has several factories and stores which can be served as collateral. 4. Capital. So equity capital to total asset of the firm decrease over time, it still stay above 14.9%. Looking on the bright side, with lower level of equity capital, firm can enjoy higher leverage ratio and therefore higher return on equity. On the other hand, the higher capital level, the safer for bank when giving loans. In this case, equity capital account for more than 40% of total capital can be taken as acceptable level of capital. 5. Condition. The firm proposed a loan amount of 10% of total asset in 1 year, which is equivalent to 29.3 billion VND. This loan will be processed as secured debt. Besides collateral document, Hạ Long Canner Food also need to submit its fund utilization plan, which show how the firm is going to use the given money and which cash flow is provided to pay off the loan. Referring to the interest rate for business loan at 1 year maturity, the combined interest rate is currently offered at 7.5% for the first 6 months, and for the last 6 months, rate are applied at a floating rate plus 4% per annum. The legal aspect condition. Hạ Long Canner Food will submit its company charter, which specifies who is the one with full legal status under a loan contract. It also needs to provide documents that prove firm ownership of a collateral, including ownership certificate of property. And in the legal contract. We also can include some affirmative covenant ranging from keeping the current ratio above 1.5 times or the regular update of financial operation. Besides affirmative covenant, a restrictive covenant should be included as well, that the firm will not take out the loan without bank approval. Moving on to the second part, financial ratio analysis. In this part, we will look through the four main type ratio: liquidity, efficiency, profitability, and leverage ratio. First, the liquidity ratio. If the current ratio is from 1.5 to 2, then it is considered to be satisfactory. However, the firm showed downward trending in current ratio, and the ratio has gradually got under 1.5 over the years. Furthermore, the ratio of Hạ Long Canada Food got far lower than that average food industry in Vietnam, which are 2.2 times in 2019. This ratio showed that the company's operating cycle seemed inefficient and lacked relevant ability to turn product into cash. The firm is facing liquidity issue, which derive from delay in claiming receivable and cash recovery period. Moreover, its quick ratio is less than 1, which means the company may not be able to pay off all the short-term liability on time, and therefore great care should be given if giving the loan to the firm. 2. Efficiency ratio. Hạ Long Canada Food producing and selling daily necessity, but the inventory turnover ratio is not only low but on downward trend. The underlying reason for the ratio can be decrease in product demand or increasing in number of remaining inventory. In fact, the inventory in 2019 is more than double that in 2017. In fact, the fact described inefficiency and ineffectiveness in business operation, since the longer can afford, the shorter shelf life. The product may be unattractive to customer, as the kind of food may be considered as unhealthy. This becomes a disadvantage for the company and the business, will face the risk of losing market share to competitor. High average collection period of the company show upward trending, especially triple from 2018 to 2019. However, the low average pay period seem usually more beneficial to the company. In fact, the high average collection period represents that the company recover payments slower. This is an other minus point when considering the insolvency as well as potential cash flow of the firm. Profitability ratio. It is noticeable that the company profit over net sales ratio, which got greater than 20% all the time, strongly surpassed the industry average ratio, with only 13%, while maintaining in upward trending from 20 to 34%. The good signal also appear in the net profit and sales ratio. This ratio has successfully recovered and increased. The profitability ratio make up for part of drawback in liquidity and efficiency ratio. The measurement of the pricing and production cost control seem to be reliable and applicable, as higher the ratio, the higher company profit and more effective operating cost management. Leverage ratio. Generally, the debt over equity ratio rise over the year, but does not exceed 2 times, which means that the creditor enjoy a higher degree of protection because the stakeholder stake in the business is large. The firm may have sufficient resources to cover the interest portion of the debt if meeting financial difficulties. It may mean that the firm is making use effectively of the leverage to its advantage. A low debt equity ratio is a determinant whether the firm can get the loan. In 2018, company faced a problem with interest payment ability, but it has successfully recovered in 2019. The interest coverage ratio in 2019 double standard ratio, which is 2 times, which a great probability that the company have sufficient buffer on interest payment. The positive side of leverage ratio increase the credibility so that the company can get a loan from the bank. Moving on with the common side analysis like learning officer usually can significant change in the company. In this case, we will Take the total asset and sale as 100% and calculate the common size of Hat Long Ken Food Company. First, the common size of balance sheet. From the chart, the proportion of cash and equity over total assets show a downward trend, while that of account receivable, inventory, and short-term debt to total asset increase. Short-term debt and current proportion of long-term debt to total asset in 2017 was 7.32% and increased to almost about 24%, which is still a reasonable level. However, in 2019, it climbed up to 31.34%. From the viewpoint of the lender, the firm had solvency problem. Moreover, taking on too much debt will free unused debt capacity, and this will make it harder for the bank to approve the loan request. Moving to the income statement comment side, we will take into account some key ratio of profitability and explain for assessing credit risk of the firm. Gross margin over sale increased from 20.85% to almost 35%, and operating margin increased from 0.83% to 4.45% from 2018. The profitability ratio increased notably, which gives lender a positive signal to evaluate profitability and repayment. However, cost of goods sold and other expense ratio also rise significantly, that bring a question of whether this firm managed efficiency. Cost of goods sold grew faster compared to that of EBIT, and gross income will be taken into consideration when giving the loan. And from all the liquidity, efficiency, profitability, and leverage ratio we have calculated, we will make to the Upman D-score. The D-score recorded in 2017, 2018, and 2019, respectively, are 4.2, 3.33, and 2.65. No surprise to see that the score in 2019 fell into the list of insolvency firm, which was explained by the reduction in sale. And the firm this score belonged to the Grace loan, which requires more information to make loan decision. So let's move to the third part, decision making. The first one, the bank can approve this loan. However, it is suggested that the loan amount should be reduced to about 70 to 80% of proposed loan amount, which is 20.5 to 23.4 billion yen only. The reason behind this loan reduction is the liquidity and efficiency problem of the firm, as well as the potential insolvency based on the score analysis. The second one is the legal document that will be required for loan decision. The first one will be business registration, audited financial statement, bank statement, account receivable, and account payable aging, and the detail about other loan of the firm, which should be the key determinant. If the firm has taken on significant amount of debt, company may not be in a position to meet all the obligation, and if we give loan to the firm, the debt burden is higher than possibly ability of handling. The business may be in serious trouble and therefore could be on the verge of bankruptcy. The next document required should be proof of collateral and the business plan. On the third question of other conditions should be imposed in the debt contract. The first one is the debt covenant, which ranging from keep minimum coverage ratio of 1.5 times, pay no dividend to shareholder without express the bank approval, pledge to fully insure equipment against loss due to fire, trap, and adverse weather, file comprehensive financial statement each month for the bank, and secure the bank approval prior to increase stock of fixed asset, and cannot take new debt without the bank approval. Now, let's move on to the final part of our presentation today, which is recommendation. First, about the advantages. The financial analysis and FICE approach are reasonable methods to measure potential for default identification, which accounting ratio provides bank prediction power including capacity, liquidity, solvency, profitability, and size. However, this method used historical data, while the lenders are looking for potential default that require the bank to be more conservative and might need other methods to assess another type of risk, such as market risk and operational risk. So that is the end of our presentation. Thank you for listening.